Aham Pante Papajang Yachami Imani Kasayani Watani Gaetwa Papaje Tamam Pante Anukampang Upadaya Dutiyampi Aham Pante Papajang Yachami Imani Kasayani Watani Gaetwa Papaje Tamang Pante Anukampang Upadaya Tatiyampi Aham Pante Papajang Yachami Imani Kasayani Watani Gaetwa Papaje Tamang Pante Anukampang Upadaya.
How long is this take? Is 60 or
45?
It's
90.
90. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
The main thing I was interested in last time, Pañña, just now you've seen quite a few new bhikkhus come and go.
Yeah.
Just wondered what kind of advice you had for new bhikkhus. I've just been surprised at what born. I've seen so many come and go, and well, when I was ordaining, David Pañña was just disrobing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few come and go now. I don't know what it is that makes a bhikkhu and why, what it is that keeps one going, or what it is that...
Well, I would say one of two things. One you can do nothing about, and that's kamma. And kamma's that way inclined, or that's it. It's not. There is one other thing. That the new bhikkhu should, within the first year he's been ordained, I would say, try to get to a good teacher and work as hard as he can in samadhi. Because until one has a taste of samadhi anyway, one doesn't know the value of the Dhamma and the teaching. If a bhikkhu doesn't get towards samadhi, doesn't get any samadhi, he just gets no experience of it, and he doesn't see the value of it. And he reads the books, but paper's not very tasty food, paper and printed ink, and after a while the chitta gets rather tired of it. And after that one thinks, well, what am I doing this for? I'm just making difficulties for myself and then forgetting it. So they give up the road. But if a person gains samadhi, then they know the taste of that. And they know that this is right and this is good. And they've had the experience of something which is more of happiness than they've had before. And they know only that if only they can get to that and maintain that state, things are okay. So I would say the best advice for anybody who becomes ordained, get out of Bangkok as soon as you can. Get to a wat where there's a good teacher, and get down to the practice. Do the practice as hard as you can for a long time. And don't stop doing it. There's a great temptation in many ways to stop. Sort of, having got some experience, everyone thinks, oh, I'd like to talk about this with other people, and I want to talk with other people all the time about it. And they all just sort of put it away. But the thing we've got to do is to practice and to learn the method of not talking with other people about it. There's a well-known experience that if a person gains something, or they find out something, or they come to know something, if they share that with other people, it's as though it spreads it. Now, this is found with bad things very easily. If a person's got some bad things in their past, and they've got sort of guilt about it, and they're feeling very bad about it, and they don't like it, they talk about it with someone else, extroverts spread you. They easily go on. Well, the same thing happens in the opposite way with good news. You talk about other people, it becomes much more ordinary, and it sort of loses its taste and goes, one doesn't feel it's so valuable. So the business of keeping these things to oneself is very important until one's got a lot of experience, until one's strong inside. So I would say the important thing is do one's samadhi practice and don't talk about it. If you gain something, some method of your own which you find works very well, and it works for you, don't go telling other people. Not until you've had enough experience with it, you're well used to that method and you know it works well. Then maybe, but not until then. This is very important. I think but the important thing for a new bhikkhu is to get some experience of the practice. Because if we don't have that, there's nothing really to hold. I mean, otherwise it's just theory and ideas and so on. They've been doing that all their life. I would say the practice. Get to the practice. Get to samadhi. And there must be samadhi. It's no good thinking about things. One's got to keep on to one thing, like buddho, just that. Or anapana, keeping the breath here, and stopping thoughts. Stop the thoughts. Entirely. When one's able to stop the thoughts, then one's in a position to turn to use them properly. But until one can stop one's thoughts and hasn't got control of them, one can't control them, they go everywhere, and no use. It's just weak. But having learnt to stop thoughts, then one can learn to put them where one wants them, and to make use of them, they become strong. So the thing is, to begin with, stop the thoughts. Learn to gain calm. People in the West need calm. They come from an environment which is a hell of a mess. And because they've been influenced by the environment, mostly they're a hell of a mess too. It takes a long time to sort of settle down and sort themselves out. And they have to realize that they haven't got very long. What I mean is they haven't got long before their kilesas start coming up and saying, hey, what are you doing here? This isn't doing you any good. So they've got to work hard at it. And they've got to go to a place where they don't have all the distractions, and where they can get down to doing the practice properly. Another thing I would advise anybody who's trying to practice the samadhi, stop reading. Don't read. Particularly those news magazines and that sort. One has to realize whatever one reads, whatever one hears, it all goes into the chitta, and that's food for it. And it develops in the way that food goes in. I mean, if it's food about the world, it thinks about the world, and it goes out to the world. If it's food about bad things, it goes in with bad things, it thinks about bad things. Even if it's good things, it goes in and starts thinking about good things. But if one's trying to stop thoughts, none of it enters. Not at that stage. So the best thing is stop thinking. Stop all contact and reading and so on. And talk with other people as little as possible. Keep to oneself. Keep away. Best thing I would say.
I find myself now, I don't know if it's typical for new bhikkhus or just me, but I talk too much, I think. About stupid things, about little petty things.
Yeah.
I realize, I'm talking about it, but, I just can't seem to, I have no business talking.
Yes. One should watch oneself talking and then reflect on one's talking and think, well, that talk, did that do me any good? What good did I get from it? What value was there? Did the other person get any good? One should really think like that. I mean, we all make mistakes, I know. We all forget quite often. Most of us, in fact, all of us except the real Ajahn, haven't got enough mindfulness. But one has to apply this often until it starts to have an effect. And then what happens is one thinks one's going to talk about something, and one says, why? What's the point of why? To oneself. It doesn't. And then the teaching is beginning to have an effect. Also, I would say for new bhikkhu, don't neglect the simple things. I think most new bhikkhus, they know about contemplating food when one's eating. They know that one should try to be mindful here and there when one's walking or when one's doing things. And they think, oh, those are just the simple things, you know. The thing is, they're not. These things are very, very important. And although contemplating food may seem to give no results, steadily over time, they do give results. It does give results. And gets results from it. Another thing I would say for new bhikkhu is, one of the things very hard to control is raga tanha, sex. Now, probably the most effective way of controlling this is contemplation of the body. If one finds that raga tanha is arising, anything's wrong, contemplate the body. I mean, traditionally there's the two parts. But anyway, see the asubha side of it. See the thing as a mess. See it as though it's all broken up. Think of corpses, that sort of thing. And you'll find, although you won't see, you won't feel in yourself any special result, you'll find that the raga tanha has dropped. So there's a very good test to this. You watch your dreams. When one has a lot of raga tanha, the tendency is to dream of women and all the rest of it, you know. When you do this contemplation, the women don't come near you in dreams. You may see them, but they won't come near you. It's quite interesting, the effect it has. And it's almost as though it's pushing you away in some way. One doesn't know quite how. I think this can work physically with women as well. If women are coming too close and becoming rather a nuisance, just contemplate the body. Think of them, there's a lot of bones and flesh and mess and blood and so on, you know, shit and so on, all the rest of it. And you find that they're repulsed. This is a protection that people should have. Because women are very unstable and unpredictable, you know, some of them, not all of them, some of them. And one needs some protection. And that's an important one.
Yeah, I've had problems with that. Old girlfriends and things just kind of keep coming back. And
yeah.
Just kind of pop into my head. Is there any kind of pattern to when one has?
Well, if the girlfriends come into one's head, okay, cut her head off. See the blood coming out. Pull the meat off. Look at the bones. Yeah. And the thing is, you'll find a repulsion from doing that. Think, oh, I mustn't do it with her. Why not? Not harming her. It's just in her own mind. All it's doing is it's doing some damage to the image one has of her. That's all. Don't harm her at all. So that's probably the best way to deal with that one. But one has to make a determination to do it. And if one just sort of lets it come up and one doesn't make a determination, it won't have any effect. The thoughts will just go on in this direction.
Another problem I've had, I don't know if it's typical of new bhikkhus, but I seem to have these kind of emotional cycles. I mean, like some days they're just fine. For a week it'll be just beautiful, and then bang, I don't know what happens, and then and just kind of whatever good results I seem to have, they just kind of seem to.
Yeah, this is how it goes. One's unstable. I have found that these patterns often follow the weather changes. You may watch the weather, and the thing is, then you can predict and you can see. Oh, that's what the reason it is. Another thing that can cause them is food. Different types of food sometimes, but often just too much. Too much food causes trouble with that. a lot of people here go on fast. If you do try fasting, and if you find it effective, then use it. But use it with caution. What I mean by that is, don't go to excessive lengths of fasting. It's not good. Generally, Ajahn, when he was fasting, when he used to practice doing this and fasting and so on, he said he used to go for about a week. He wouldn't go more than about a week without eating. Sometimes he went a week without eating, then ate one day, then went another week, and ate one day, and went another week, and like that. But he always broke it with that. And it seemed to me that what he did there was a very reasonable approach. Otherwise, you get people who can almost get addicted to fasting, and it isn't a good thing. Another thing you get with people who fast, they start competing. Somebody's doing a fast and they think, I'm going to go longer than him. And then, in fact, that is contrary to the way of the winner. It's wrong. It's wrong in winning. Because it's doing it for the wrong reason. Fasting should be for the reasons of developing one's practice, not for any other. But fasting doesn't suit everyone. No good for me. I tried it. I just lost all energy. The practice went worse. So I
Yeah, I tried different fasts for, from about 2 days to 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
I could do it. It wasn't much of a problem. I was kind of amazed. It wasn't so difficult, but I can't say I had any particular benefits.
Yeah.
If anything, I felt a little conceited that I could do that.
Yeah. Well, if you don't find it of any benefit, then don't use it. But what's probably quite a good thing to do is to just test it every now and then. Every several months, just try about 4 or 5 days on fast and see if it does have an effect. Probably it's quite a good idea.
What is the goal of fasting, Ajahn Pañña? What should one expect at the best?
It clears the mind. It prevents the digestion of food being a kind of load on the mind. There isn't a tendency to sleep. One tends to be more mindful. The mind is generally much brighter. One feels lighter and feels more like one wants to do the practice. It's a general way that it goes with fasting. It goes properly. And one should use that time to try and develop the practice, to try and get as much experience in it as one can. In Thailand there are many people now who say, the way of samadhi and all the things connected with it, they're unnecessary. What you must have is vipassana, I call it. Now, all I can say is don't listen to them. Ajahn was once asked about people who talk about vipassana like this, and the questioner said to him, a layperson, is this genuine vipassana or what is it? So he said, so there are some people who are thieves, and they say that they're honest, good people. But even though they say they're honest, good people, they still remain thieves. And he said it's like that. He said that they talk about saying it's vipassana, but in fact it's samatha. However much they say it's samatha, it still remains vipassana. And however much they say it's vipassana, it still remains samatha. Because they're doing things like breathing practices, or the one on the belly, belly movement practice. That's not a vipassana practice. It's samatha. It's calm. And it's samadhi practice.
This vipassana practice that's very popular in Bangkok is the Burmese way of vipassana that you can practice almost anywhere. Supposedly with a good teacher you can attain Sotapanna in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah. The only thing is, if that was the case, why in fact doesn't one see so much of the results of it? I mean, I can't see that the people who practice that are any better than any other people. Whereas the Ajahns that I've met, who I know to be real Ajahns, they are different. And they show it. There's no ostentation about it. I mean, they just show it in their character and their bearing, the general feel you have about them, the way they talk, and so on. You see they're different. But the people who practice this, I don't see that. That's all I can say. I mean, they may like to call themselves Sotapannas, but I don't believe it. I don't think they know what Sotapanna means.
According to some teachers in Bangkok, if you look down an average street, if you had the power, you could see that, you could see maybe a dozen Sotapannas walking around.
Yeah,
it's very common.
Yeah, I know.
Another thing it seems like from the bhikkhus I've seen is there's a kind of a longer term cycle too, is that after 3 or 4 years and everything seems to suddenly seem that one hasn't progressed.
You can reckon that there are some bhikkhus go 15 years and they then give up the road. Some more than that, 20. I mean, there's no length, no time limit really. But then all you have to do is look at many of the bhikkhus that you see in Bangkok, and you have to reckon up, have these people really got anywhere? And some of them are there 25 years practice, 25 years in the Sangha and so on. They haven't got anywhere, these people. They don't know what to do. When a person's like that, if the kilesas arise, they arise and they give up the road. So, there's nothing to hold it. This is why I said it's so important to get at least some experience of samadhi. You've got to get something to begin with, quite early. And one should really consider that one's got to work hard until one gets some experience. After that, all right, one knows then what one's sort of direction one goes. One can see the value of it. And then there's something at least then to hold on with, unless one gets that, there's nothing.
I find it very difficult to keep samadhi. I mean, now and then in meditation I can reach it, and then everything is very good for a while, and then it just kind of dissipates.
Yeah.
I go back to talking and the usual kind of mindless way.
Yes. Probably the reasoning behind this is lack of sadhana, actually. One can't link that samadhi to anything. It's difficult for Westerners because they haven't been brought up in Buddhism and they haven't got the sadhana as a background. Because that's not easy. Thai is a bit easier than that. They've got to get samadhi, then they can link it back to the Buddha and so on. To the whole background of Buddhism. But still, I mean, that one can't do anything about that in the situation one is. The only thing one can do there, really, I think, is if one finds it all drops away, one's then got to continually make a new resolve to get back there. One knows it's worthwhile, one knows it's good. And one's got to get back there.
This lack of sattva is one problem seems Westerners have. Are there other problems that Westerners have in particular? Pañña?
Yeah, Ditthimana, opinionatedness is very bad in Western generally. Very strong. Mainly because in the West we're all taught everybody should have opinions, and because of that everybody's an expert on everything. And you can't mention a subject without somebody says, "Oh, I know what that's all about." Even though they've got no idea at all. They go give out their opinions on it. So, this is a very present thing. One has to be very careful about Ditthimana. There's a very distinct difference between what is opinionatedness and what is knowledge coming from wisdom. Opinionatedness tends to jump to conclusions without having many facts, without knowing the background. Whereas the wisdom searches the whole field and looks in the whole way around it and sees the background of the whole thing, and sees cause and effect and how causes work, and because of that there's knowing that everything works, whatever it is. And that way the views are not Ditthimana, it's not conceited opinion. Conceited opinions is usually just taking one facet of it and jumping to conclusions on that one facet without knowing the rest of it. Yes, I know that. Well, we all do that, but the Westerners are very prone to it. You think in America it's like. I mean, I remember on the radio in England we used to. We get somebody who was, say, an expert on football, and he'd be interviewed by this man. Now I wonder what you think about the very present political situation. And then this man would launch forth on it, he knew nothing about it at all. Complete nonsense, I hope.
I find I have a problem, just when I know I should keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. It's very important to try and know the kilesas. Kilesas are the enemy, and one should know the enemy. Because by knowing the enemy, one can become aware of where he's likely to attack, and one can come to know what are the defences. The first thing to realise is the kilesas are always there. It isn't as though they're sometimes there and sometimes not, they're always there. There's no time when they're not. Until one can say that one's chitta is completely ruled by the kilesas. It's under the sway of them the whole time. And the kilesas give rise to the idea of something which we call self. And this something which we call self is really the sort of almost the essence of the kilesas. And we relate everything to this that we call self. And the very relating of that is the kilesas acting as well. And the outlooks we get are all in relation to self. And these outlooks are the kilesas as well. Everything is coloured by them. Everything is distorted. Because of that, we are completely subsumed by these things. And we don't know them, we don't see them, because they're just past us. Completely natural. And we've got to realise that these are here all the time, these things. We mustn't think that they're light things, that they're things that don't matter very much. You think of the evil that some people do. I mean, the Nazis in Germany, the Japanese in China in the war and so on, and the people like the PLA, the Palestinians, and, the rest of them. You don't have to think very far now to see it. All this comes from the kilesas. And it's the kilesas that drag one into the greatest suffering as well. They drag one into doing things which bring on suffering, and they cause one trouble the whole time. They lead one to birth, sometimes good but sometimes bad too. So they're no small thing. And they're very sticky. They don't go easily. And they're always defensive. One has to realise that they use the power and the skill of the human chitta. That is why they're so clever, because they're using the chitta. Not that they're the kilesas in themselves who've got any special cleverness, but they are a sort of distortion of the chitta, and they use the chitta to think up their own ends. And these are the enemies. They're not an easy enemy to deal with. One has to learn to know it, first of all. You must know them, see them in action. Generally one can't see them when they're acting because one's too caught by them. So one should reflect and see how they made one do this, how they made one do that, how they came out in this way, all the time like that. At first one can't see the difference between what I'll call oneself and the kilesas. But in time one does begin to realize that there is a difference. That the kilesas are one thing, and chitta is another. They're not the same. But the kilesas have usurped the chitta. And what they have produced is what one calls oneself, and this is an impostor. It's not the genuine thing at all. The one that is genuine is very hard to realize. But the one that's genuine is like non-self. It's like as though it's not non-self at all. And this one is not false. This one can call it the true chitta, or you can call it Dhamma, or whatever it is. And this is the one one's searching for. One's searching really to become that. But that means that one's got to learn to be able to give up this that we call self. And that's hard work. One's got to, in fact, train oneself until one comes to the position when one can do that. Until one comes to the position that one can do it, there's no hope of giving it up. You can't just sort of say, I'll give it up now, because it's the kilesas saying that. And the kilesas, all they do is they give up one thing and take another. I mean, usually they say, usually what happens, somebody who tries to sort of do it before it's time, they give up self, and then they take up the idea, I'm an arahant, or something like that. And in fact, all they've done is they made another self. They just give it the word arahant instead. So they're worse off, because they think then there's nothing more they have to do. And they've got this view, this opinion, which leads them in the wrong way all the time. So those people, if they can't shake that, they're finished. So the kilesas are a bad enemy, and in fact they are really the only enemy. One can say that whenever anything goes wrong, if the practice doesn't seem to go right, the kilesas are doing. They're the ones. Often they are kind of dragging one down, so that one can't think straight. One can't make any resolution. And if you look, the thing they get hold of mostly is feeling. Just plain physical feeling, usually around about the stomach, solar plexus. This is all, just that feeling. If one says, make a resolve and say, to hell with these feelings, I'm going to do the practice, regardless of these feelings. Well, then one can defeat them. So you've got to keep on defeating them time after time. Not just once. So I must learn steadily, bit by bit, to come to know these skills. They're very important.
A few times I've seemed to sometimes have a little understanding of just how deep the kilesas go, and in periods of doubt I just wondered, is there anything besides kilesas? Sometimes it just seems like there'd be nothing left without them. They're so powerful. Something at least I couldn't imagine.
What you have to see, though, is the kilesas are powerful, but we still have the possibility of choice. And in any situation which arises, one's likely to have the possibility of choosing to go in the right direction or the wrong direction. Now, the right direction has still got kilesas in it, but it's leading to less kilesas and thinning of them. It's leading in the right direction to get free from them. As if one goes in the wrong direction, they're getting thicker. And the kilesas usually try to bias it in the way that you'll go the wrong direction. But one still has the choice to deliberately go against them, to go in the right direction. One hasn't got rid of the kilesas by that, but one's going in the direction to get rid of them, that's all. I mean, morality is that really. Whenever any problem in morality arises, to go in the right direction is going in the direction of reducing the kilesas. It's difficult because the kilesas don't want one to go in that direction, they pull. Because the enticement of the kilesas is so often merely that of relaxation, feeling relaxed at ease, which we want so much. Whereas going against the kilesas produces tension, irritability, and one sort of feels annoyed, generally out of sorts, get constipated and all the rest of it. But the thing is, you're going against the kilesas and one's going in the direction to get rid of them. And all these sort of things like irritability and so on, these are the kilesas trying to pull one back. More technically, we can say these are merely the results of bad karma in the past, which arise, and because of the nature of the kilesas, the arising of these feelings tend to induce one to go on the habitual path of going downhill, where one shouldn't go, to try and get rid of these feelings, these unpleasant feelings. The trouble is, if one goes that direction, one reinforces the karma that will produce those feelings in the future. So the wheel rolls on. So one's really got the choice all the time of whether to go in the right direction or the wrong direction. What will it come from? If one continually chooses the right direction deliberately, one not only starts thinning the kilesas, but one gets the power and the strength of will to go against them more easily. One gets more strength. Whereas if one goes with them all the time, one just ends up a jellyfish, or completely under its way.
How does one begin to know that one's efforts are having an effect on reducing the kilesas? Is there some, especially for beginners?
One finds, I would say, that one's own estimation of one's self-importance, I don't mean in theory, but one's feeling of it, becomes greater. In the sense, I mean by self-importance, I don't mean in a bad sense, but I mean one's own worth in oneself, quite regardless of what anyone else thinks. One's own worth in oneself. One doesn't feel that one's just like an old foot rag. Inside one feels one's got something that's valuable. And that thing of value starts growing. And one finds also then that there's firmness inside. There's a firmness which is capable of fighting the kilesas, of going against them. I mean, all these things they do show externally, but the external thing isn't what matters. Yeah? That's just a byproduct. It's the internal thing that matters all the time.
Well, I've had feelings of self-importance at times, but it's more in the sense of conceit, I think.
Yeah, I don't mean self-importance where one's thinking about how important one is. It's just a feeling without... One almost sort of wonders, well, why do I feel like this? What sort of feels, well, I feel like this, but is it a genuine thing or not? But at the same time, it's there. And even though one questions it, it doesn't go. So you know it's genuine. I mean, if one has the usual meaning of self-importance in the world, if one questions that and investigates it, it just bursts out of the bubble. Because nothing to support it at all.
I mean that one kind of has a sense that the way that one is going is the right way, and that one has a kind of a...
Yeah. Although one may not be able to see what way one's going quite, or one may not know what specific things one's done to go that way, which specific things have helped us, yet at the same time one knows that one's developed. And one can hardly put one's finger on it. It's very hard to say what it is. The development has taken place, and one knows it. One knows one's changed. One used to be like that, and one's no longer like that.
Other times I have kind of a sense of impatience that things aren't working fast enough, and maybe it's time to fast or to
another Western trait.
Sit up all night and try to do battle with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to work either.
Like you see in the magazines, rush me a copy of your catalogue. Impatience. Can't wait for it.
That's one thing I noticed at Wat Ba Naya Chat is that it's almost kind of a frightening sense of this kind of willpower, sheer willpower that people are going to kind of have results immediately. It seems kind of admirable in a way, but a little frightening in another way.
Yeah. That's no good. The more one tries to push it in that way, the more the obstacles come up against it. Because that is kilesas. The thing is, it's I'm going to get results, the emphasis on I. And I'm going to force the results regardless, Now, if that's under the control of a really good teacher, you might be able to use that faculty, that power. But when it's under the person's own control, generally what happens is this. If a person has a number of ways they can go, they will only see one or two of these ways. They won't see the others. And the way they should go is the ways they don't see. Because that's the way where their kilesas are. Most of the way, or where they're strongest. Because of their character. Because of that, they don't see that way, they only see this way. And this is the way where the kilesas are not very strong. So they always go lopsidedly developing those things which they've already got quite strong. Now the things where they really need development they can't see. And they go, no, don't go that way. Typically, this works. The people who are greedy characters always think they hate characters. The people who are hateful characters always think they're very greedy. The reason for this is the person who is a greedy character, it's so much part of his nature, you don't see it. Whereas when hate arises, it almost sticks out like a sore thumb. It's obvious then. So he thinks his character is rooted in hate. So he thinks, I must do the things to control hate. Whereas that's not the one. It's the greed that controls. That's the way it works. It's one of the reasons why it's very difficult for people to develop Dhamma on their own without a teacher. Because one way or another the teacher will indicate the general direction you should go. And Ajahn here is very skilled at it. He rarely tells somebody you should do this practice or you should do that practice. Very rare. He will suggest a whole range of practices, but one way or another he'll do things or indicate things or say a little bit here, a little bit there, and gradually steer the person one way or another. He's very good at that. But he won't, as far as it's within Dhamma, he won't force it us. So,
should one adapt one's practice? I mean, it seems like you can see that many people are different characters. I mean,
yeah.
Not just kind of superficial characters, but they have very deep kind of tendencies. Can one adapt that oneself, or does one really need a teacher to? Because, like, for example, as for myself, I just can see there's certain things that I could never do. Like I could never become a great teacher. I know that for sure. Certain things. I mean, I just know my character, and I just wonder how one can use that in one's practice.
As to whether you could ever become a great teacher, that you don't know.
Well,
because the thing is that what you are at the moment probably couldn't become a great teacher. And as the calculus is clear away, one changes entirely. And one just doesn't know what one's going to become. Got no idea. It'll be something utterly different from what one ever expected. In fact, usually when results come in practice, they come in a way which one never thought of. Something completely out of the blue. And the way one has expected the results to come, if they come that way, they're not very much.